So here's the problem. These two cams are in the correct place. Fucking sunlight. So you can see that's where the cams locking plates bolt in. One there, one there. And they're both pointing straight up. This one. That one's pointing up, which is the exhaust cam on bank 2. And this is the intake cam on bank 2. You can see that the hole's not pointing, or the threads of the hole are not pointing directly up. It's one tooth out. You can verify that by looking in the mirror. So, oh fucking hell. There's a little cutout there, the casing. That's the window, and you can see there's a little dot there on the sprocket. So that's in the middle of the window. And then this one, there's the cutout on the top right there. And then you can see the slot in the sprocket down there, which is right on the left of the window. Should be in the middle here. So this is one tooth out. So somehow this has managed to jump over one tooth, and I can move this by hand a little bit. So I reckon that the sprockets, the locking pin's worn, and because it started up with no oil pressure, the locking pin's not locked, and then it's allowed the sprocket to jump, or the chain to jump past it, retarding it by one sprocket tooth. Happy days. Now I've got to do is try and get this side off. So I've got to take the catalytic converter off down there to be able to get this heat shield off, to be able to get this secondary air injection valve off, to be able to get this epoxy cover off, to be able to expose it the same as that side. Fuck my life. So this is the bank 2 upper timing chain tensioner, exhaust sprocket and intake VVT adjuster sprocket. These are actually the wrong way around. Be over there. That one's in there. So the chain comes up here around, goes over the top of this tensioner, back down the other side, and then underneath, and then there's another sprocket down the bottom here that is hidden behind the main timing cover plate. So the only thing that I really found is that little guide there is broken. It's supposed to be symmetrical. Both sides are supposed to look the same. Don't know where the piece is. I've got to take the sump off, so I'll probably find it when I go on the sump. But that's probably not the main problem. The main problem was that this sprocket was one tooth back. So I don't know, some wear on the chain tensioner, this guide missing might have created a bit more slack, and then it's allowed the chain to jump over that sprocket when that sprocket hasn't rotated at the same speed as the chain was going. So I've got new tensioner, I've got new VVT sprocket, I've got a new guide for that, I've got new bolts, reusing the exhaust sprocket because there's nothing wrong with it. the engine locked in, got time in lock-in plate on bank 2 and the same on bank 1. And then to look down in the depths of doom, let's have a bit of light, a bit more of the sunlight. There we go. Yeah, so that's where everything bolts on. So intake sprocket, exhaust sprocket, and then the tensioner sits right there, and spreads these two chains apart. And then all the way down in the bottom of there is the other timing chain, which is the main timing chain, and then there's another one lower down which does the oil pump, but that's the main one that times the crank and the two cylinders, two banks of cylinders, keeps them in time, up to this other smaller sprocket which then keeps both the camshafts in time on each bank. So yeah, what a fucking job. I'm deliberating now what I'd do about the other side, because the other side, if that wasn't hard enough to get out, having to take the catalytic converter off, which is all the way back there, yeah, a right nightmare. And all the bolts are obviously hot, rusty, but this side, fuck my life. There's one bolt which you can barely see, and then the other bolts, one on the top there somewhere, can't even fucking see it, is nearly impossible to get to with the transmission in. Okay, the new tensioner's on, the VVT sprocket, the exhaust sprocket, and the old chain, because you can't change the chain unless you take the engine out. So I've got my line there in the middle of the window, which is perfect. You can even see two scratches there, and you see how it all lines up, absolutely perfect. And then this one down here, you can see there's a little dot on the sprocket, which is directly below one of the chain pins, and you can see that's directly in the middle of that window there as well. So that is perfect. If you got it wrong by one tooth, it would be right at the edge of the window, right over one side or the other, so you pretty much know that you've got it right, because it's going to sit dead center or way off to one side, left or right. New tension is in there. New little guide there, it's not broken. Just getting ready to put the supercharger back on. Got all the covers on, spark plugs, core packs are in, valve covers are on, oil filters in, heat shielding it's back in. I've given the inner wings a bit of a clean just to tidy up a little bit. Oil's in, haven't got any coolant yet, just waiting for it to be delivered, and then it'll be ready for the big reveal. Fire it up. Okay, this is the first start after putting the engine back together again. Fingers crossed. Ooh, I'm glad that noise went away quickly. There's no oil in the tensioners or anything. Sounds good. Just wait for it to kick off the high idle and see what it sounds like on low idle. Hopefully no leaks anywhere. Burning off a bit of WD-40 that I put on the bolts on the manifold there. Sounds pretty good. So far I'm happy. Sounds like it should. Let's see if there's any fault codes. No fault codes. That is a result. Let's have a look at the measuring blocks. Let's see what a cam deviation is. Well, wouldn't you know? That looks bang on. So both sides are adjusting together. 48 means that the inlet camshaft is retarded. So we're on cold start. Yeah, that's retarded. And the adjustment are all the same. Before, one of them was way out, well, 2 was like on 13 and the other one was on 0. Number 1 was on 0 and bank 2 was on 13, so there's definitely something wrong with it. But yeah, they're both adjusting together. I'm quite happy with that. Any more information? No. It's all just zeros. Yeah. So far so good. So I'll run it up to temperature, make sure the coolant's bled properly because I've had the supercharger off and that's water cooled. Check back for codes later, but really if there was going to be a code it would have popped it up straight away, and there's nothing coming up. So that is a result. Let's have a look at the fuel pressures. Looks pretty good. Specified and the actual are very close together, so that means that that's working all properly. What else can we see? Let's have a look at the lambda sensors. So bank 1 and bank 2 are very closely matched, so that means they're running good. We're trying to achieve lambda 1. Lambda 1 means stoichiometric, which is 14 parts air to 1 part fuel. A lower number than 1 means fuel rich. There's the misfire. The adaptions will probably be irrelevant until I've taken it for a drive, as I've cleared the faults recently. So yeah, no point looking at them yet. Last check, make sure nothing's popped up. No. So that is a result. So we're up to temperature now. Still no fault codes, which is good. And giving it a little rev. Sounds pretty good as well.